What are you doing?
Oh, I'm packing for PPG Dallas. Remember, if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area this weekend, you can come to Pro Play Games Dallas. We'll have a huge Swiss tournament with cash prizes and live casting by me and Simo on twitch.tv/ppgygo. Remember to tune in. That's it.
Hey everybody, Joseph Rothschild here, aka MBT, back again with another episode of 10-Minute Testing. Some of you newer subs may not know this, but before being a B-tier Yugi tuber, my side hustle was being a C-tier actor, traipsing through community theaters the tri-state over. As a result, I feel a special sort of affinity for today's archetype, which will likely turn out to be about as successful as I was. Presenting Abyss Actor. So here's the list, and dang. Refreshing to see a pendulum list that doesn't start with Darkworm. As always, I'll give you a background about the archetype, a little bit of a discussion about what I hope the deck can do, and of course, the card by card. So firstly, for those of you that don't know, Abyss Actor are a pendulum archetype. Now usually that means you add about 15 different engines and prepare to end on some flavor of Endymion Emperor and Gardragon Gunguses, but these thespians are nothing if not exclusive. Almost all of their effects worth activating lock you into Abyss Actor monsters until end of turn, and occasionally Abyss Actor pendulum monsters, which is weird, since before this new spoiler those were the only Abyss Actor monsters. Anyway, the payoff for their exclusivity is immense. They've got a tribal monkey board, a recurable creature swap, and a searchable ritual beast steeds at their disposal. These tools, alongside their tribal field spells conditional effect monster negation, have always been some of the best options for pendulum pilots with an allergy to kitchen sink style decks. Except Master Rule 4 hit no one harder than these starving artists. No longer able to loop resources from the extra deck and locked from the links that make other pendulum decks tick, they've been reduced to summoning one monster per turn, 2 if you count Mellow Madonna. Things looked bleak, but as any actor knows, when you need a person to blame, you can always look to the director. Abyss Actor Hyperdirector does everything for the archetype. He can turn a backstage actor into defensive fodder while scaling a Madonna, effectively turning any one of their plethora of pendulums into scripts or monkey boards, and most importantly, he's fantastically easy to summon even when locked behind the curtain. Ideally, this build of the deck will be able to blind second, making use of Comic Relief's creature swap to out-problem monsters, and Mellow Madonna to make up the advantage lost through negates, both lines of course, done by the director. So with that, let's get into the card by card. Firstly, our offering to the gods of pendulum good stuff, mythical beasts. We're on 3 Serb, 2 Jackal, and a Garuda. Routinely, they enable Electromite pre-curtain, but even when they don't, they're a fantastic pre-lock summon onto blind second boards. Banishing removal and OTK potential is critical in a deck that lacks a grind game. Next to our actors, 3 Superstar, who brought scripts for everyone who forgot, 3 Mellow Monkey Board, 3 Wild Hope, 3 Curtain Raiser making their in-theme debut, 3 Comic Relief, the Creature Swap, 3 Extras, the Searcher, and 1 Evil Heal, who is just a very big boy. For spells, we're on 3 Allure and 3 Desires, a Terraforming for 3 Fantastic Theater, which negates monster effects under certain conditions, Abyss King, the Steeds, Opening Ceremony, whose set effect is a +4, and Abysstainment, critical for the deck's recursion. In the extra deck, we're playing a lot of Pendulum Pals, but keep in mind, if you're building on a budget, you actually don't need any of this. Unlike status quo scale decks, your power lies in the main. That said, we're on the Odd Eyes, Big Eye, Abyss Dweller, Boral Sword, Saruya, BLS, Nightmares Unicorn, Phoenix and Cerberus, Electromite, Beat Cop, Masquerena, and 2 Director for when the first is fired over creative differences with the producer. So with that, let's jump into the games. Our first match is up against Ancient Gear, a machine-type OTK deck that's just enjoyed new Link support of its own. Ancient Gear Fusion, by the way, is still $40. Our opponent's going first. They're going to lead with an Infinitrack Rock Anchor, special summoning a Wyvern from hand. Wyvern's effect will trigger, adding a box to hand, triggering Box's effect, and following up with a Trencher. They'll Link summon a copy of Ballistic Shooter, which adds a copy of Gear Town to hand. Afterwards, they'll special summon a copy of Trencher, use Foolish Burial Goods to send a Catapult to Graveyard, destroy their own Gear Town, get a token, and a copy of Hunting Hound. They're going to Link summon a copy of Verte Anaconda before Ancient Gear fusing into a Howitzer, dealing 1,000, then activating Verte Anaconda's effect to Overload Fuse into a Chaos Ancient Gear Giant. Great setup, not unbeatable. We're going to lead with a copy of Allure of Darkness. We'll scale Master Cerberus afterwards. Because there's no longer any Garnets in our deck, we'll fire off a pot. We'll Jackal back into Master Cerberus before setting Mellow Madonna and activating her effect, raising the curtain and scaling Wild Hope. We'll activate Wild Hope's effect, then Pendulum summon Exactly Superstar, setting an Abyss King from deck. Afterwards, we'll activate Master Cerberus' effect, freeing the board of that pesky Chaos Ancient Gear Giant, and now that Fantastic Theater is live, that Howitzer will do absolutely nothing and we can OTK our opponent. While we're on the subject of decks that recently got Link support, Harpies! Our opponent is on said deck, and while the plays we performed last game were particularly powerful, they didn't involve Director. Let's give him some time on stage this game. Our opponent's going first once again. They'll lead with a copy of Passing Glider and a copy of Takatamborg. Always seem to draw it, huh? They'll then normal summon a copy of Harpy Channeler and activate Hysteric Sign for Elegant Egotist, which they will use to get Harpy Lady 1. They'll go into Conductor, trigger the effect of Channeler for Perfumer, trigger Perfumer's effect for Mirror Split, and overlay for Tornado Dragon. It's a pretty good setup. We're going to start with a copy of Master Cerberus. We will then go into Jackal King. We'll scale Garuda to destroy this copy of Mirror Split while there's nothing in the graveyard. We'll then special summon a Curtain Raiser and go into Hyper Director. We'll Jackal into Master Cerberus, putting 2 counters on it with Comic. We'll then activate the effect of Master Cerberus, targeting our opponent's monster that resists destruction. After we activate the effect of Mellow Madonna, they're going to activate the effect of Tornado Dragon, just as planned. We'll Hyper Director this Comic Relief out, then shuffle using extras for a second copy, which we will trade for the Dragon. We'll then go to Battle Phase and clear our opponent's board without triggering Hysteric Sign. That's really all you can ask for against Harpy. For turn, our opponent draws Harpy Lady Sisters and concedes. So it's time for game 3, and you know what that means, a best of 3 versus meta. Our opponent's playing Seifert Thunder, a meta deck that's only rose to prominence in the last couple of weeks. It's also one of the most powerful board-building monstrosities in the format. Let's see if we can give it what for. Our opponent's going first, of course. They'll lead with a copy of, you guessed it, Thunder Dragon. Afterwards, they're going to normal summon a copy of Draconet, special summoning a Galaxy Serpent from deck, and then synchroing an Ebe. They will bring back the Galaxy Serpent with the Guard Dragon already in their hand to go to IP Mask Arena. They're going to special a copy of World Chalice Guard Dragon from deck, and then banish it to get Galaxy Serpent, getting Pisty. Pisty, of course, can return the World Chalice Guard Dragon if they so desire, but right now they're going for Brotar. They're going to go into a copy of Black Dragon Collapse Serpent and a Saruya. They'll trigger both effects. Oh boy, this is so strong, and Melody's even stronger. Pisty will finally bring back this copy of World Chalice before they go into Romulus. Romulus will add a copy of Dragon Ravine to hand, which they will activate, discarding a copy of what looks like Nessie to send a copy of Diabolos to the graveyard. They're going to Melody afterwards, then use Jackalop's effect to bring out Bigfoot. They will special summon a copy of Thunder Dragon Dark before activating the effect of Thunderbird in hand, which enables a rank 8 alongside, oh yuck, a Colossus. They'll go into a Heavenly Spheres, and on Hope Harbinger, Titanic Dragon, and make one more Colossus, triggering Darkest Diabolos to shuffle one of my cards for good measure. Now that's a board. We'll lead with a copy of Comic Relief. We'll link summon a copy of Hyper Director and activate his effect. Our opponent will respond with a Heavenly Spheres, which bounces the superstar we were trying to summon. They'll go into a Seifert, we'll activate Abyss King, prompting the effect of Titanic Galaxy, and let's set some similar scales before we concede. Alright, so for game 2, I blinked, we're going first. This game showcases how punishing Abyss Actor can be to those who miss entrances. We're going to lead with, what else, a copy of Master Cerberus. We'll activate Master Cerberus, getting a copy of Jackal. We'll then normal summon a copy of Wild Hope, set Jackal King, so we can special summon this copy of Master Cerb to a main monster zone. We'll activate Hyper Director's effect on our Wild Hope for a Mellow Madonna. Then we'll activate Mellow Madonna's effect for a Comic Relief. We'll scale that, set a copy of Abyss King, and hope for the best. Would have liked the field spell, but we'll deal. Our opponent's going to lead with a copy of Dragon Ravine. They will send a copy of Diabolos to the graveyard before going for Roar. We will activate the Mythical Beast Garuda in our hand, which is kind of Kieran. It basically ends our opponent's turn. They end on a Levianeer and a Pisty so they can get over our Hyper Director. They'll go to Heavenly Spheres and pass it back to us, but things are looking good. We're going to start by switching our monster to attack position, because for some reason Abyss King cares about that. They'll chain Heavenly Spheres and get a copy of Brotar from deck. That's quite bad, but not the end of the world. We'll normal summon a copy of Wild Hope and go to Hyper Director, special summoning our copy of Comic Relief to set a Mellow Madonna. We'll activate her effect, setting another Comic Relief, and then performing a Pendulum Summon of exclusively Mellow. We'll go to Battle Phase. We don't do a ton here, but we do a reasonable amount. It's at least a 2-turn clock, so next turn, let's wrap this up. For turn, our opponent draws an Allure of Darkness. They're going to lead with the Thunder Dragon Hawk, going into a Colossus. They'll then trigger the effect of Roar for a Dark, which they will use to link summon Masquerena. They'll use Dark's effect for a Thunder Dragon, which they will activate for a couple additional ones before activating Allure of Darkness, and uh-oh, things are looking quite bad. Afterwards, they're going to activate Dragon Ravine, discarding a card. It's a Seifert. They'll special summon back the Sneck and trigger Seifert to add back Chaos Dragon Levianeer, which they will summon. They're going to use its effect to bring back Brotar and add a copy of Black Dragon Collapse Serpent to hand, enabling a Boral Sword Dragon play. Afterwards, they'll special summon another Chaos Dragon Levianeer, and oh boy, our only hope is if they screw up the attack phase somehow. Which they do. Okay, alright, we should be able to punish from here. We're going to normal summon a copy of Comic Relief, and then Pendulum summon just Jackal King and Wild Hope. We'll activate Comic Relief's effect, taking this copy of Boral Sword Dragon. Our opponent chains in response, but we are still getting the monster. We'll scale Master Cerb so that our Jackal King is on and go to Battle Phase. We'll attack into this copy of Comic Relief. The Brotar triggers, but we of course have the ability to negate it, and will do so. Shockingly, we walk away with this one. So it's time for that all-important Game 3, and yeah, we're gonna have to win a game going second. Our grip is so good. Provided our opponent's turn 1 board build isn't that backbreaking, we might be able to do it. They're going to lead with a copy of Thunder Dragon, of course, followed by a 1-for-1, fetching a copy of Brotar from deck. I am already sick of this card. Afterwards, they'll activate the effect of Sneck, prompting a normal summon of Galaxy Serpent and a synchro summon of Eve the World Chalice Miko. They'll go into Masquerena, getting a World Chalice Guard Dragon from deck, then triggering its effect to make both an LP and a Pisty. They'll activate LP's effect for Seifert. They'll activate World Legacy Guard Dragon, putting back the Black Dragon Clap Serpent, then summoning it for a Saruya. They'll activate its effect and Saruya's, finding 3 cards, and let's see what they end on. Oh, those are 3 good ones. They'll activate Pisty's effect, bringing back this copy of Guard Dragon, and they'll go into Heavenly Spheres. They'll activate Melody. They'll special summon a copy of Thunder Dragon Duo, trigger the effect of Roar for Dark, go into Colossus, use Dark's effect, use Diabolos' effect. Things are looking quite bad. They're going to use Duo's effect and special summon a copy of Levianeer, shuffling a card back, followed by an activation of Diabolos' effect. God, is this Gotham's format? Okay, let's see if we can do it with 4 cards. These are 4 good ones. We're going to activate Extras. That's going to prompt the Galaxy. We'll normal summon a copy of Curtain Raiser and activate Abyss King, but that prompts the World Guard Dragon. We'll activate Comic Relief, but that prompts the Heavenly Spheres. Oh boy, things are not looking good. Okay, we can still special summon our copy of Curtain Raiser and go into a copy of Hyper Director. Unfortunately, we can't set a copy of Mellow Madonna while we're under this copy of Thunder Dragon Colossus. We're going to have to be satisfied with setting a copy of Abyss King and hoping for the best. Unfortunately, the best never comes. So we're back with the deck, and I mean, a blind second deck sucking versus Seifert is nothing new. Let's do the pros and cons. First, the pros. 1, it's refreshing. And these days, whenever my opponent sets a scale, my eyes just sort of glaze over and I start thinking about how Yu-Gi-Oh! Was before 5% of your games were show me your hand and I'll show you if you get to play. This is a new take on a pendulum deck, for better or for worse. 2, it's successful at what it does. Almost every hand ends with a monkey board, a potential creature swap, a Ritual Beast Steeds, which is more than often enough to take a game. And 3, unlike past versions of Pendulums, it's repeatable. Because Mellow Madonna unlocks the extra even if the entire board is cleared, 1 sitting in your hand is often enough for the show to go on. And the cons. 1, its most powerful play, get it, is Rise of the Abyss King. Now that isn't fantastic in a format dominated by Dingirsu and Thunder Dragons. Popping face-up cards is nice, but it doesn't happen as often as it needs to. 2, it doesn't have nearly the flexibility other Pendulum decks pack. You can Flextra the extra, but you don't get a chance to very often. And 3, it's just not as explosive as Endymion or Guard Dragon decks. It feels good to be using Pendulum for their intended purpose, but if the end result is a worse variant of a Tier 2 deck, maybe it's not worth the ticket price. All in all, it's an interesting and innovative take on Pendulums that's finally somewhat playable, but it's doomed to lurk backstage while its more refined successor hogs the spotlight. So that's that. While I appreciate all of my viewers, a special thanks to my patrons, especially Tyler Slacks, Crispy, Sir Tachyon, Miko Reichman, Distrin, Lucas Geardis, Adam Trevino, 2nd Lieutenant Labcoat, Fighting Fang Wong, Meatmoto27, Burrito Man 93, Adrian Bra, Adam Sundquist, Isaac Jackson, and Donnie Fillerup. If you like what you see, please consider subscribing, and if you want to be part of the process, follow me on Twitch as well. Otherwise, I'll see you next time.